Hello everyone, my name's Ethan, and welcome back to my series on the history of Japanese airlines. Today, we will be going over the history of Ibex Airlines, formerly known as Fair Airlines, not to be confused with Fair Aviation of South Africa, and without further ado, let's get into it. Before we start though, I want to mention this first. Ibex's boardroom would shake up so frequently it isn't even worth mentioning, and the amount of sources are very scarce, but I just wanted to bring that up right before we started. But now, without further ado, let's get into it. Like we've discussed previously in the other videos, Japan's airline industry was heavily regulated by the Japanese government in the form of set fares and select route licensing. These regulations would gradually be lifted, leading up to the final regulations being lifted towards the end of the 1990s. With these regulations gone, Japanese airlines can now operate routes freely and with their own prices, without needing to seek approval from the Japanese Civil Aviation Bureau. This would see a multitude of startups, including the aforementioned Skymark Airlines, Airdo, Skynadesia, and today's topic, Ibex Airlines. Ibex Airlines would be founded on January 29th, 1999, as Fair Incorporated. From now on, up until the eventual rebranding, I would be referring to the airline as Fair. The airline would be founded by Japan Digital Laboratory, along with Art Vivint Company and Southern International Company, along with multiple unnamed individuals and other companies. Japan Digital Laboratory, or JDL for short, along with their CEO, Kazuo Maezawa, would account for the majority of the shares, totaling 62.5% of the total shares. Shareholders would pool approximately $37 million for startup costs, with the company being headquartered in Tokyo. I can't find any information on their first president, or their board layout for that matter. So if you do have any information on that, please let me know. But anyways, Japan's economy would explode towards the end of the 20th century, with a greater emphasis on manufacturing technology exports. Because of this, the demand for business travel would grow. Fair's main strategy would be to cater towards these business travelers and connect Japan's major industrial centers. Because JDL has a majority of their research and development centers in the Tohoku region, the airline would choose the largest city in the region, Sendai, as their base. Fair would receive their first aircraft, a 5-year-old CRJ-100 long range, on May 31st, 2000. Previously, the aircraft spent time with Lauda Air of Austria, and it would pick up the registration Juliet Alpha 01 Romeo Juliet once arriving to Japan. Fair would receive its air transport license from the JCAB, along with an undisclosed amount of slots at Sendai and Kansai International Airport. A planned launch date would be put in place for August of 2000, and their operations between Sendai and Kansai would begin on August 7th. Fair would bring in another CRJ-100LR from Lauda Air in November to close at 2000, and their financial reports aren't available for the time since Ibex isn't a publicly traded company, and their financial reports weren't publicized, so it's impossible to know for certain. But it's safe to assume that they would make a loss in their first year, which would be chalked up to startup costs. Entering 2001, Fair would announce a new W pattern route connecting Kagoshima and Sendai with Hiroshima Nishi Airport, with flights connecting in April. Just a quick side note, a W pattern is used to connect 3 cities. For example, Singapore Airlines flies a W pattern between LAX and Singapore Changi, with a stopover at Narita. So in this case, the flight would start in Sendai, stop over at Hiroshima Nishi, and continue on to Kagoshima. On the way back, it's the same in reverse. Kagoshima to Hiroshima Nishi, then on to Sendai. Fair would enter a code-sharing agreement with ANA between the end of February 2001 and April 2002. With this, they would receive everything including maintenance, ANA flight crews, outsourced ticket sales, as well as being integrated into the ANA Connection brand, along with future video candidate, Air Central, better known as NAL. A CRJ-200 extended range would be brought in fresh from Bombardier in March 2002, bringing Fair's fleet up to 3 aircraft. Narita would be opened up as a new base for the airline in April 2002, with flights to Sendai, Sapporo New Chitose, and Osaka Itami. The Sendai to Kansai route would be dropped as well, in favor of Sendai to Itami around the same time as the announcement of the new hub at Narita. Itami to Matsuyama would join the route network, commencing on April 22nd, 2003, although the route would be discontinued by November 2004. Closing up 2003 into 2004, another CRJ-200 extended range would be picked up, and you guessed it, 3 new routes. This time, Itami to Shone, Oita, and New Hiroshima airports. The fare would discontinue its W pattern route between Sendai, Hiroshima Nishi, and Kagoshima between 2002 and 2004, which I can't determine the exact date because of a recurring theme in this video. Practically zero sources. Anyways, another side note, Hiroshima formerly had 2 airports, Hiroshima Nishi and New Hiroshima Airport. Nishi closed down in 2013, but New Hiroshima has been open since 1993. Nishi was a smaller, more centrally located airport at the heart of Hiroshima, similar to Sapporo Okadama. And the main reason it closed down is couldn't expand, to put it simply. 2004 would be a busy year for the airline, seeing fare officially change its name to Ibex Airlines on October 1st, 2004, marking a new chapter for the airline. Oddly enough, none of the aircraft would receive new titles. Up until 2006, that is, which is a public move on their behalf. As a stopgap measure, they would place a small Ibex sticker right beside the fare titles. However, you have to look pretty close to notice it, since, as I said, it's very small. Ibex would also open up a brand new website, making it more convenient for its customer base to purchase tickets. Although, ANA would still be outsourced for physical ticket sales. No other way to commemorate these events but, you guessed it, more new routes. This time, Itami to Fukushima and Narita to Komatsu. Osaka Itami and Tokyo Narita would also become full-fledged hubs at this time with the announcement of these new routes. To also coincide with these events, Ibex would reach its millionth passenger milestone in December 2005. Ibex would halt further expansion for the time being, picking up its final routes in this rapid expansion period, with Itami to Akita, commencing on July 1st, 2006. Takao Asai would be appointed to company president in July 2006, who would become a key figure down the line, beginning the second phase of rapid expansion. Fast forward to the global recession, Ibex would sit on the sidelines, not making any moves. No layoffs, dropped routes, or even pulled aircraft. Between July 2006 and April 2009, Ibex would secure 4 brand new CRJ-700 extended ranges, with delivery scheduled for the end of 2009. Although, once the first CRJ-700ER was delivered, they would go back to rapid expansion. In May 2009, Itami to Narita and Shone would be dropped in favor of the commencement of 3 new routes, from Sendai to Komatsu, Hiroshima, and Fukuoka. The Akita to Itami route would be dropped sometime between June 2009 and November 2010. Replacing it would be 5 new routes, with Fukuoka to Itami and Oita, and Sendai to New Chitose beginning in July 2010, with the remaining 2 scheduled for July 2011, with Century to Oita and Sendai. The Fukuoka to Oita route would be dropped relatively quickly, with the 2 cities being only 160 kilometers away from each other. On March 11, 2011, the Tohoku earthquake and tsunami would hit. Because of this, Sendai Airport, which had suffered massive damage, would have to be closed in order to undergo much needed repairs. Fukushima Airport would also be closed because of the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear disaster, which happened in the aftermath of the tsunami. These would put a massive dent into Ibex's route network, with all flights between Fukushima and Sendai being cancelled. Fukushima Airport would resume operations on March 17th, but Sendai would remain closed until April 13th, which the airport would reopen to limited commercial operations. Even though operations would resume at both airports, the demand for air travel would decline. In order to drum up some much-needed business, Ibex would offer heavily discounted fares. Granted, they weren't the ones eating the costs. In order to rehabilitate the region, the Japanese government would set up multiple funds, with one of these funds being aimed to help airlines. Ibex would be granted subsidies from the Japan Civil Aviation Bureau, or JCAB, who in turn would be aiding the costs. 3 new routes would be implemented in July 2012, with Fukuoka to Central and Mizuyaki, as well as Itami to Mizuyaki. Ibex would secure a lease for 4 additional CRJ-700 extended ranges as well, with delivery scheduled to begin in February 2013. Ibex's route network would continue to grow in 2014, with the implementation of new routes from Itami to Niigata and New Chitose, as well as Fukuoka to Komatsu. One of the CRJ-100 LRs would be withdrawn in December to close out the year, with plans to withdraw the other CRJ-100 LR in June 2015. Between November 2014 and February 2015, Ibex would place an order for 2 more CRJ-700 extended ranges with an option for 1 additional aircraft. Along with the CRJ-700s, they would place an order for 5 CRJ-900s. 2016 would see Centro de Miziyaki picked up in March, along with the withdrawal of 1 other CRJ-200 extended ranges, with the remaining one scheduled to be withdrawn by the end of 2017. Between April 2017 and June 2018, Ibex would drop their CRJ-900 order, along with declining their option on the CRJ-700 order. 2018 would also see Ibex drop their routes to Miziyaki, but like their previous drop routes, they would replace them with new routes instead. This time, routes to Matsuyama from Nuchitose and Sentra, along with Fukuoka to Nagata. Ibex would also partner with Miyagi Prefecture for a new ad campaign, which would see Ibex paint their newest aircraft, Juliet Alpha 1 for Romeo Juliet, a CRJ-700 extended range, into a special livery with Miyagi Prefecture's mascot, probably going to butcher this name, Musubi Maru, adorning the aircraft. There would be 2 additional iterations of this livery, with the second iteration being introduced in April 2021 and the third iteration in June 2024. Entering the global pandemic in 2020, Kagoshima would be reintegrated into Ibex's route network, with connections to Sentra and Itami. Closing out 2020, Ibex would partner with the Rakuten Golden Eagles, which are a professional baseball team in Japan's NPB League. This would see Juliet Alpha 01 and Romeo Juliet being painted into a special livery similar to Juliet Alpha 1 for a Romeo Juliet's repaint. 2021 would see new additional routes, with Sendai to Matsuyama and Nuchitose to Fukushima. The Narita hub would be closed down, and all routes to Komatsu would be dropped, along with the withdrawal of Ibex from Matsuyama towards the end of 2023 as well. Kagoshima to Sentra would be dropped sometime between 2022 and 2024, along with the withdrawal of a single CRJ-700 extended range in 2023. That sums up Ibex's history leading up to the time of recording. I hope you enjoyed the video, and these videos have been problematic to make because of a lack of sources, especially in Ibex's early days. But this has been a problem for practically every Japanese airline besides JAL and ANA, which are the most documented. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate it if you could like, subscribe, and all that stuff. That means a lot to me. Over 83% of the viewers aren't subscribed. But anyways, if you've got any suggestions or critiques, please let me know. I prefer if you could just let me know why you didn't like the video instead of just straight up disliking the video. It gives me no feedback. But I'm going to try and make an informative video once per month. Hopefully. But anyways, I'll let you guys go. Peace.